So I wanted to talk to you about three stories, and those three stories will include um, amniotic membrane patches, but what its applications are, but also injectables to remodel scar, and also about accelerated wound healing, which basically started off from with Bruce when you saw that first in man paper that we published maybe 10 years ago. And I think the important thing is to understand what Kai is, because we haven't really said what the hell is Kai, right? So Kai is a Japanese word for ocean or renew, and that's kind of the reason why we chose this, even though it starts with a K. Um, I think that the important thing was we saw some really cool things that was fairly vast in terms of the platform that amniotic material brings to the field of cardiac surgery or cardiothoracic surgery, for example. And what we found out, and this is the high level summary, when we place patches on somebody's heart, there is an 80, one of the biggest problems when we do heart surgery, which is about 3 million operations a year, everyone, about 40 to 50% of people actually go into postoperative atrial fibrillation. And so what I'm going to talk to you about is the atrial fibrillation story, which is the main thrust of this conversation. But then also talk to you about if you were to inject this into scar, how scar remodels. So how can you capture heart function in order to prevent you from having a heart transplant, for example, or even having a total artificial heart or a left ventricular assist device? And we've got some data to tell you about that. And then at the same time, most of these 2-3 million operations, maybe about 2.5 million operations for cardiac surgery are done through a median stenotomy. And that's one of the banes in cardiac surgery is how we can accelerate wound healing to reduce the chances of wound infections. And that can often be quite costly. And so I wanted to talk about how we apply the process to our patients and show you some videos, but also, as you've heard, some of the mechanisms for the patch being a deliverer of or cargo that drops onto the patient's epicardium of the heart has some actually beneficial effects. And the thing is, we've been trying to find out what it is and how anti-inflammatory it is, how antifibrotic and even pro-angiogenic it is, and looking at some clinical outcomes.